My name is Michelle. I'm going to be talking to you guys about homestay. Mr. Sapolsky did an amazing job telling his personal experience, but I'm just going to reiterate some of the information. But before I begin my spiel about homestay, I'd like to personally thank all the families here who have already opened their homes to the Japanese students and are planning to take a homestay, a Japanese student. We really, really appreciate it. We depend on the Virginia-based families to take in the 40 Japanese students that are coming from Japan. After almost 3 weeks of tour, they're really exhausted, and there's nothing better than coming to a home and being a part of a family for 2 to 3 days. So thank you again. If you look on the next page, you'll see some important dates about homestay. Homestay this year is going to begin on July 21st. It's a Thursday evening, and we're going to be having our 25th annual homestay picnic. So the Japanese students are going to arrive fresh off of tour, and you guys are going to be there with your families if you plan on partaking in homestay. And this is your first opportunity to meet your roommate. So they're so excited to meet you and your families, and this is a great, great opportunity to relax and enjoy all the free barbecue food that we're going to provide for you guys. So that's just an awesome event. Following the picnic, you take your Japanese student to your home, and for 3 days, you can do anything and everything. Below is a list, an A to Z list of suggested activities that families have done in the past. But really, the Japanese students just want to get a glimpse into everyday American life. They want to see what you like to do, what your family enjoys doing on the weekends, going to church, going to a swimming pool. Mr. Zapolsky gave you guys a really wide range of activities and places to go. I remember when I did homestay, I took my 2 Japanese students to the mall, and they loved it. Going to American stores, Forever 21, Abercrombie & Fitch, they just loved everything. Going grocery shopping, you'd be amazed at how excited they get just walking down the aisles and finding cool candies that they don't have in Japan. They're really enthusiastic about everything. So anything that your families would think about doing and taking to show them would be great. At the end of the 3 days, you would return on Sunday, July 24th, to George C. Marshall High School, and that's where you would drop them off. And let me tell you, again from experience, it's a very emotional goodbye. You become very attached to your Japanese students, and they become part of your family. And I know that my mom was sobbing buckets when we had to drop them off at the bus. Reasons why to do homestay. It's the first opportunity that you'll have to meet your Japanese student, and it gives you an advantage because then when you go to Princeton, it's like you're reuniting, and you know a little bit about them, and they know about you and your family. So it's just you have a great head start to making a really lasting friendship with your Japanese roommate. So if you have any questions about homestay, if you if you can't partake in homestay but know families who'd be interested, please, please, please send me an email. My contact information and phone number is below. And thank you so much ahead of time.
All students from Virginia will be transported to Princeton through a charter bus provided by the HSD program. And students are responsible for their transportation to arrive to the transportation drop-off location. So pretty much the Virginia meeting location is the same high school where you will drop off your homestay students, George C. Marshall High School. The address is posted there, and the bus will depart on July 26th at 2:30 p.m. We ask that you arrive at 2 o'clock so that you can have time to check in and make sure everything's golden. The estimated time of arrival at Princeton is at 6 p.m. and we ask that you guys bring maybe $10 because we'll have a pit stop and for lunch on the way. Travel on the way back will be on Saturday, August the 6th. I don't think it would involve anyone here, but if you're planning on picking up your student from Princeton, that would be no later than 10 in the morning. But the bus should arrive around 4 p.m. and again, it makes a pit stop on the way back for lunch. Another thing that's really important, it's very similar to the homestay families. There are out-of-state families students that will fly into Virginia one day before the buses take you guys to Princeton on the 25th. And it's customary for the out-of-state students to come on the 25th and then be picked up and hosted by a family in Virginia, and then that family will take that student with their own child to the charter bus on the 26th. So I have a sign-up sheet. I'll be outside as you guys leave, and we really are dependent on you guys to kind of host and help out these out-of-state students that are coming as well. So you can reunite as the HSD family.
All right. On the next page, we have a brief introduction to the classes that will take part in at Princeton. Classes start a few days after the students settle in at Princeton, and both the Japanese and American students will be attending classes in either English or Japanese, respectively. And these classes are divided based on your experience with the Japanese language. So if you've already studied, you'll be placed in a more advanced class, which is more, directed towards your level of study, whereas beginners have their own respective class as well. And also, to get a more well-rounded glimpse into Japanese life and culture, the classes are split into language, and then a brief break, and then there's a culture-related class as well. So it's a great opportunity for the students to get a glimpse into Japanese culture and language. And we have some really great events that happen within classes, such as the tea ceremony, origami, calligraphy in the past. And so there's a lot of great opportunities to look forward to. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
I'm going to go over a typical day at Princeton, as well as the theme days that you'll have at Princeton. Each day does have a theme, which will more or less dictate the schedule for the day. But an overall schedule will run as so. We'll have wake up at about 7 a.m. We'll meet up and do a traditional Japanese stretch called Raicho Taiso. YouTube it, it's a lot of fun. We will then have breakfast together. Most of our meals will be at Wilson Dining Hall. A breakfast followed by classes, which Ninja talked about. And after that, we'll have lunch and afternoon activities, which will be comprised of either presentations, program activities, or something else that's equally fun. Then we'll have dinner, and our evening activities will be, it's always a lot of fun. The theme days, you'll have listed Day of Arrival, School Spirit Day, Day of Culture, Country Fair Day, Date Night, HSD Olympics, Rock Pop Star Day, Halloween, Day of Service, and Day of Reflection. For each day, we strongly encourage you to dress up to really be in the spirit of the day. We also encourage you to bring costumes for your roommate. So please, after this meeting, contact your roommate, find out their sizes, find out how you want to coordinate, and please bring things for your roommate. The Japanese students are limited in how much they can pack and bring to the U.S., so they just don't have space to pack costumes for all 10 days, as well as your regular clothes for the 3 weeks. So please bring costumes for your roommates. And I also challenge all of you. Each year, Princeton, the staff goes all out for every single day. For Country Fair Day, I'm going to be in my overalls. For date night, I'm going to be wearing my nice fancy suit. Halloween will be a secret. But every day we're going to go all out, and I encourage you to please try and match our level. Just go crazy every day.
And in the same vein of enthusiasm and creativity, we will next turn to the page about presentation categories and guidelines. Maria and I sent out emails to all of you outlining which presentation group you'll be in, and hopefully you've already been in touch with members of your group since your first deadline is coming up on June 12th. And we'll also break up into RJ groups in just a couple minutes so you can see if anyone here is actually in your presentation group. But just to go over some of the key points on presentation guidelines, basically, this is the only opportunity that you have in a structured environment to really share about American culture. And you'll have 45 minutes, and you'll be with a group with 4 other students from your J program, and be able to talk about something that interests you, that you think is important to share about American culture, since that's obviously what this program is about. Your Japanese roommates will also be participating in presentations. They'll bring their supplies all the way from Japan and conduct the entire presentation in English, which is always really impressive to see. And I think that that's another important point, that oftentimes the Japanese students have put in an incredible amount of effort into their presentations. And we always want the American students to show that they care just as much, that they want to share as much, and they want their Japanese roommates to get just as much out of the presentations as they get out of the Japanese students' presentations. So please, please, please be as creative and innovative as you possibly can. And we're always here to bounce ideas off. Each of you has an assigned counselor who you should be in contact with the deadlines and with any questions that you may have. So just to go over the groups, more specifically, the groups of these are education, social issues, regional characteristics, and American government. And as I said, the Japanese students will be doing the same categories, but for Japanese systems. So we have a bit of an outline for each of the topics, but we really encourage you to kind of take these as a springboard and really get creative. If you have any new ideas, anything that's not in this is just the topics, talk about it with your other group mates and see what they think, and see if you can't make a really exciting presentation. And so I already said that the first deadline is June 12th, 9 p.m. Sunday night. Please be sure to have emailed your individual presentation topic, as well as how you'll break it down within your group. So if you're doing education and you decide to talk about the college admissions process as well as school uniforms or whatever the topics are that you decide to do, and however you decide to break it up among the 5 members of the group, be sure to email whoever your staff contact person is by 9 p.m. on the 12th. And then the 26th is the next deadline, June 26th, with the rough outline, and then the final outline will be due July 3rd. And as you've already figured out, we start going on tour with the Japanese students way before you all arrive at Princeton, so it's really important that you stick to all of these deadlines so we're clear on how the presentations will run, and you're all prepared by the time that you get to Princeton. At the American Student Orientation, you'll have time to practice your presentation with your group members, be critiqued by staff members, and all of that. So that's all ready for you, but please be sure that you're prepared with the supplies that you need. And remember that you can't use any PowerPoints. We're trying to avoid a more lecture-style format and make it as interactive and exciting as possible. And another important thing that we'll repeat throughout the program is that it's really, really important that you speak clearly and slowly. Sometimes, especially in the presentation, so slowly that you think you sound a little bit too slow. But it's important to make sure that the Japanese students are all on the same page and are understanding what you're trying to present to them. It's no use having tons and tons of information if no one got any of it. So be sure that you don't bog your audience down with too much information.
All right, on the next page you'll see helpful hints, and these are intended to provide some guidance as you're going through the whole presentation preparation process. So first, I'd like to just point out that each of you is being awarded a scholarship that really covers the entire cost of the program, and these presentations are your opportunity to give something back to the program, so we ask that you really put as much effort as you possibly can into them. We realize, this time of year, especially with finals coming up and you have, projects and everything going on, it is really busy for you, so we appreciate you taking the time to give it your best effort. We really do. So under that, you'll see do your part. So the presentation should last approximately anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes. Students tend to, try and fill it up as much as possible, and you end up going longer because you speak slower. So that usually isn't an issue that a presentation is ever too short. But then for those 30 or 40 minutes, it should be distributed evenly for about 6 to 8 minutes for each of the students. There are 5 students in each group. And we did our best to give you your top preference. If you didn't get your very first, you at least got your second. So I hope that works out for each of you. And it says also, as Tori mentioned, there are deadlines, and we explained why we have those, to just make sure that everyone's pacing themselves appropriately. And we are able to provide TVs, DVD players, VCRs, that might be a little obsolete, I don't know, CD players, but we don't do PowerPoint presentations because we do find that ends up taking away from the interactive potential of the presentation and making it more of a lecture style. And I think we have all had that teacher who just reads off of a PowerPoint and no one enjoys that. So we ask that you stay away from that. And again, know your audience. These Japanese students all have some level of proficiency in English, but again, they're being thrown into a completely new environment, and for some of them it will be more of a struggle than others to follow English. So speak a lot slower than you think you need to, and there's definitely a difference between being condescending in your speaking and then just being appropriately slow. So do your best, and you will get acclimated to that as you're at the program, and you'll become more familiar with like the speed that's appropriate for you to go at. Don't just stick to the facts, so please try to make it as interactive as possible. Games, prizes are always a hit. And just make it as exciting as you want it to be. When you have a teacher that's really excited about what they're teaching you, it makes it that much more enjoyable for you. So please just keep that in mind as you are presenting to them. And yeah, in that vein, have fun. So it sounds like I'm lecturing you right now, but I promise I'm not. This really is a good opportunity. It has a lot of potential to be not only a fun experience for the Japanese who are learning so much about American culture from you, but you can have fun sharing it with them as well. So please keep all of that in mind. Oh, and then, oops, also, we have a YouTube video. HSD has a YouTube channel, so please check that out. You'll see a link at the bottom of the page, and we have a nice little video that explains kind of what the ideal presentation looks like. So check that out when you get home, please. And you will see on the back, I keep picking up that, but I'm not. The presentation groups, and depending on which folder you have, you'll have either the information for J1 or for J2. And on the top of each of those lists, you have your assigned counselor who is going to be in contact with you throughout the summer. So you should have been receiving emails from this person already, but if you haven't been, please let us know because it's really important that we get on top of that as soon as possible. So, thank you.
John Hassan mentioned earlier, we have theme days for every day, and you really need to bring costumes for your roommate and yourself, and we encourage you, as John said, to go all out. It really just makes your experience that much better. And also we recommend a small gift, and you have a couple of suggestions there, like a t-shirt from your school, hometown baseball caps. It's nothing too expensive. We're not going to give them like diamonds or anything, but it's just a small token. And also you definitely want enough clothing for 10 days. At Princeton you will not have laundry facilities, so you just want to have enough for the 10 days. One or two nice outfits are really important for date night and for the farewell party. And if you have any prescription medications or any kind of medications, we recommend that you have enough for the 10 days, and if you need refills, bring those too. And a alarm clock, because we start promptly at 7 a.m., so you want to be there for the start of the day. And what else is there? And if you have the space, this is stuff, like we said earlier, maybe an iPod with portable speakers that you can share your favorite music with your roommate, or a Japanese phrase book so you can talk to them in Japanese a little bit. And we talked about this already. Items that are not permitted are cell phones, laptops, drugs, alcohol, weapons, just, normal stuff that you wouldn't bring to a summer program. And we ask you that you limit your packing to one large suitcase and a small carry-on, because we're going on at most 2 buses, and we have to fit all of your stuff as well, or just one bus. Sorry, one bus, and we're carrying all of your stuff plus a couple of the out-of-state children would be about 10 to 15 of them, so there's not going to be a lot of room for everyone to bring like 2-3 suitcases. So we ask that you limit it to one large suitcase and a small carry-on bag. And on the second page there is frequently asked questions. These are pretty self-explanatory. We went over most of this, but if you have any other questions, we can open that up right now. Yeah. All the counselors will be carrying cell phones, so they can use our cell phones.
We give all of the students, when we arrive at the orientation, an opportunity to call home to say, I got here safely, everything's fine. And then when they have free time during the week, then they have the opportunity to seek out a payphone if they need to or whatever. But if there's a problem or anything, of course a staff member would let them borrow their cell phone.
Last but not least, the really fun stuff you guys all been waiting for. On the last page of your packet is a list of your names and your roommates' names. next to your roommates' names, there is their address, phone numbers. Probably most important is their email or mobile mail address. Contact your roommates tonight. Go home, email them, get to know them starting like tonight. Introduce yourself, get to know them, and like we said earlier, coordinate with them. Start talking about the theme days. They're all really excited. So for the theme days, start coordinating costumes and stuff. In Japan, they not only have like computer email addresses, but with their phones, they have their like a phone email address. So I would try contacting every possible email address you can find on here until you get a response. You can Facebook them, search them up on Facebook. A lot of them already are on that, or find them on Skype. But yeah, contact your roommates as soon as possible. Start building that relationship with them now. So.
In most cases, we try to match up roommates if they've volunteered to do the homestay, but because there are some students who live, throughout the U.S. and they can't host, then their roommate would get paired with another family. But if you're local and you've asked to take a homestay, then yes, you'll get matched up with your roommate.
Yes, on July the 25th, they'll be coming in, and we try and make their flight times match more towards the later evening, so like 7, 8, so it'd be more, after work. And the families that will host will come pick them up from the airport. Usually it's Dulles or Reagan Airport, and then stay for the night, and then set out the next afternoon to George Marshall.
And also BWI, if anybody is from
BWI is
that area.
And just to add a little more information, we have about 13 out-of-state students, and so we are really dependent upon the Virginia-based families for them to be able to host. So, yeah.
For the 10 days, everything will be on Princeton campus. Yes.
There is a brief free day where they can go into the town of Princeton, but it's across the street from the campus. So.
How much time? 1 day? Half a day?
A free day is 3/4 of a day. And then there's another opportunity for an afternoon later on in the program. So we recommend money for souvenirs and that kind of thing, but they really don't need, they get money for a meal on free day from us. So just money for souvenirs and that kind of thing.
They'll be having too much fun at Princeton that they won't want to go outside.
And sometimes people like to buy like Princeton sweaters or T-shirts to remember the experience of being at the school. So.
The reason why we talk to the Virginia families about homestays and not other parts of the country is because should an emergency arise, which is not likely, we like to be within a certain radius of the students so that if I need to go get one of the Japanese students, or the Japanese director needs to go get one of the students, that we're not driving so far. But we used to have homestay families from Virginia Beach, and that's about the same distance as Ocean City. So I think that would be fine. Just to kind of reiterate, we do have to place every single Japanese student, and there are 40 of them. And like I said, we can't go beyond a certain radius just for safety reasons. So if you couldn't participate in homestay, we understand, but if you could just help us by getting back to us with, my son's best friend would love to, they'll be in town, with recommendations that are still close enough to home to us, a family friend of yours, we can safely say that would be great experience for the Japanese student. We would appreciate the help from you all because our job is a pretty big one to place all 40. So.